Okay, Hare Krishna. So, for these next couple of mornings in the Srimad Bhagavatam class, I thought we can speak from the Damodar Lila. It's still 2 weeks before we have Kartik, but I thought if the outside world, they also put Christmas tree a couple of weeks before. And the Schokoladenhasen for Easter, they're also there a couple of weeks before Easter. I think we can already just contemplate about pastime. I just felt it's nice to have a topic for the 3 lectures. And we'll read from the Bhagavatam, from the 10th canto, and speak a bit about the pastime, but I'll also try to see what lessons we can take from this. And today we'll hear from the beginning of the pastime, and then we'll talk also about the topic of endeavor and mercy, also in relationship to the Holy Name. Something like okay? Okay, good. So I'll read from the Srimad Bhagavatam 10th canto, chapter 9, text 15. 10, 9, 15. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 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 Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayavdiraye Nashta Shabadeshu Nityam Bhagavata Sirya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Naishtiki. So 10, 9, 15. Tat Dhamma Patyamanasya Svarbhakshaya Kritadashaha Vyangulonam Abuddhena Sandhathenyach Chagopika Tattama Patyamanasya Svarbhakshya Kritagashaha Dvyangulonam Abuddhena Sandhathenyachagopikaha Tat Dhamma, that binding rope, Bhatyamanasya, who was being bound by Mother Yashoda. Svarbhakshya, of her own son. Krita Agasaha, who was an offender. Dvi Angula, by measurement of 2 fingers. Unam, short. Abut, became Tena, with that rope, Sandade, joined, Anyacha, another rope, Gopika, Mother Yashoda. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. When Mother Yashoda was trying to bind the offending child, she saw that the binding rope was short by distance, the width of 2 fingers. Thus she brought another rope to join it. Purport. Here is the first chapter in Krishna's exhibiting of unlimited potency to Mother Yashoda when she tried to bind him. The rope was too short. The Lord had already shown his unlimited potency by killing Putana, Shakatasura and Trinivarta. Now Krishna exhibited another vibhuti or display of potency to Mother Yashoda. Unless I agree, Krishna desired to show, I cannot be bound. You cannot be bind me. Thus, although Mother Yashoda, in her attempt to bind Krishna, added one rope after the other, ultimately she was a failure. When Krishna agreed, however, she was successful. In other words, one must be transcendental love with Krishna, but that does not mean that one can control Krishna. When Krishna is satisfied with one's devotional service, he does everything himself. Sevam mukhehi jivado svayam eva spuratadha. He reveals more and more to the devotee as the devotee advances in service. Jivado, this service begins with the tongue, with chanting, and with taking the prasad of Krishna. Atha Shri Krishna namadi na bhavet graham indriyai sevam mukhehi jivado svayam eva spuratyadha. From the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1, 2, 3, 3, 4. That's the end of the purport. Madhyanatimandasya dinanjana shalakaya chakshuram militam yena tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Namo Bhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadamam Dharati Svagadam Pitam Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubheva Cha Padithanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Again, text. When Mother Yashoda was trying to bind the offending child, she saw that the binding rope was short by distance to width of 2 fingers. Thus she brought another rope to join it. Okay, so of course most of us, or most probably everyone of us, knows the pastime already. But that's the beauty of Harikatha, that it's ever fresh, and it's also meant to be a form of worship, just hear and speak about these pastimes. And it's also quite interesting how many details the Acharyas have given us in their commentaries, which makes the pastime more relishable also. So this chapter begins when Sri Shukadeva Goswami explains that one day Mother Yashoda saw that all the maidservants were engaged in other household duties, and she personally began to churn the yogurt. And while churning, she remembered the child activities of Krishna, and she would sing her own songs, just spontaneously compose and sing songs about her own child, Krishna, who has been performing so many amazing pastimes. And here it says by Shukadeva Goswami that the reason why Mother Yashoda personally churned that butter was because the other maids were so busy. But actually there was also other explanations that Mother Yashoda was thinking, why everyone is complaining that my son is stealing butter. He's known as Makanchor, right? He's the thief, butter thief. And So Mother Yashoda was a bit concerned, she was not sure whether this is true actually, whether he's really stealing, but everyone is complaining. And if it's true, why is it so? Because after all, Nanda Maharaj, they have 900,000 cows, right? And 900,000 cows, they give a lot of milk. And they have a nice quality milk. And they prepare very nice sweets and yogurt and milk products, and especially butter. So why did Krishna have to go outside? So, but Mother Yashoda thought maybe I have to do it myself, so that I put all my love and devotion into the journey. So then the butter will taste so nice that Krishna only will take my butter. He will not go anywhere else because there is so much love. So that was Mother Yashoda's also meditation. So that's why I'll do it myself, and then my poor child doesn't have to go and steal somewhere else. He can take it home, right? So that's another explanation. And of course, there have been many stories about Krishna stealing butter. And it's interesting, we find stories in the scriptures, in the Puranas, and we find also explanation by the acharyas who comment on these pastimes. But then there is also the Braj Leelas, like the Brishbasis. There is the whole tradition of the Brishbasis who also have their own stories, which you may not find in the Shastra, but they kind of tell stories. And so, let me see, one story is, it's also quite well known, but once Krishna also, we know how Krishna would steal butter, right? He would, with a couple of gopas, they would come in, and then the gopas would stand, and then some other gopas stand on the shoulders, and like this they climb up, because these buttered pots, they would hang, buttered yogurt would hang somewhere on the ceiling, and then there was one gopi, she could understand that Krishna is always coming and stealing, so she made some arrangement, and she put everywhere bells at the ropes, everywhere bells, so that as soon as someone would touch the pots, that there would be bell sound, and then this way she would understand that the Makhan Chor has come to enter the house. Right? So when Krishna saw the bells, he told the bells, because in spiritual world everyone is consciousness. Psst, I ordered you, don't ring. I'm here to have some business here. I will get some yogurt and butter, but you should not ring, And then the bells, of course, Supreme Personality of Godhead, we obey your orders, so we will not bell. So then Krishna is climbing up and he's stealing, taking some butter, and as soon as he touches the butter in his mouth and starts to taste the butter, then all the bells begin to ring like very loud, and then the gopis come in and the Krishna is and then Krishna is kind of complaining, hey, I told you not to ring, and then the bells like, well, we were confused, you told us to not ring, but all the Shastras tell, as soon the Supreme Personality of God eats, we have to ring. That's our dharma, no? That's our duty. We have to ring as soon as the Lord takes food. So we were confused what to do. So in this way, Krishna is known as Makhan Chor. There is the other story with Prabhavati Gopi. You know this one? The Prabhavati Gopi, she was also, she always complained to Mother Yashoda, this Makhan Chor, he's always come and steal our butter. And Yashoda never believed her. She said, I will catch him and I will bring it to your home. A frischer Tat ertappt. So then one day, she made some arrangement, she kind of hid somewhere, and the gopas thought she's not at home. And then when they again enter the house and climb up, then this Prabha Gopi, she kind of catched Krishna just when he was taking some butter. Then she said, now I will bring you to Mother Yashoda, and now it will be revealed that you are the thief. You could enter all the houses and steal. So she dragged Krishna through Braj and brought him to Yashoda. But she felt, okay, this is a business between me and Mother Yashoda, or maybe the elderly gopis. Not everyone has to see, so she covered Krishna's head with her sari, and then she dragged him to Mother Yashoda. And then she told Mother Yashoda, now I have catched your son stealing butter. And she said, Cha, please show me. And then she lifted her sari, and who was there in her hands? There's different variation of the story, but the way I heard it's her own son was there. And she was surprised, oh my God, my son. Yashoda was laughing. And then she was very embarrassed and she kind of left again. And she covered, and then again, on the way she looked, and then again Krishna was there. And then Krishna was saying, don't do this again, don't bring me to my mother. If you do it again next time, I will manifest as your husband. So in this way, Krishna is stealing. And it's funny because, you know, Prabhupada says, you know, like Krishna is Makan Chor, he's famous for his stealing. And everyone is saying, oh, how nice, what a nice thief he is, beautiful thief, right? But it's very strange because this is the difference between Krishna and ourselves. If we steal, if some of you steal, then we're beaten by shoes. But if Krishna steals, everyone is glorified. So nice stealing. That's the difference between Krishna and us. And I remember once I met an old friend. We worked together when I did my apprenticeship as a chef. I was a cook, chef. I did apprenticeship, and then there were some Tamils also in the kitchen. And that time I was a Christian, and he came from Sri Lanka, so he had Hindu background. So 25 years later we met again, and I have become a Hindu, and he had become a Christian. So we were quite surprised. What? You're now a Hindu? Yes. And you're a Christian? What? And then he said, this Krishna, I know this Krishna. In the school we learned about this pastime of Krishna. You know, but he's a thief. And I was laughing, yeah, he's Makan Chor, he steals butter. No, not only butter. He also steals the garments of the gopis. So he's very immoral, very immoral God. That's why I worship now Jesus Christ. He never was stealing, you know. So what I want to say is that for an ordinary person, people, it can be difficult to understand. You know. That's why people like Lord Ramachandra. Whatever Lord Ramachandra is doing, you can follow. It's very bhakti. But this Krishna, it's difficult to understand. Any case, that was one that Mother Yashoda took the task on her own to churn, make this butter, because she felt, let's make sure that Krishna gets nice butter. And it's described how she had a saffron yellow sari, and she pulled the churning rope, laboring very hard, and her bangles and earrings moving and vibrating. The whole body was shaking. And Prabhupada says in the purport, those who attempt to follow in the footsteps of Mother Yashoda, they should meditate about this picture, how she's journeying. And then it's described that while she was churning butter, Krishna, who was nearby in the next room, slowly kind of wake up and heard the sound. And Krishna kind of stepped out of the bed and walked towards Mother Yashoda with a desire to get some milk. He was hungry. And then, of course, Mother Yashoda, upon seeing the face of the Lord with great love and affection, and intense affection, kind of put him on her lap, and then started to, how do you say, feed, give her milk. But as we know, what happened next, all of a sudden she realized that in the kitchen there was a pot with milk boiling, and boiling over. And also, I think that this is also some Brishwas commentary. I heard that the milk, because everything is conscious, the milk felt envious of the breast milk of Mother Yashoda. No, Krishna is enjoying this milk, and I'm here just no attention. What is the use of my life? Better jump over into the flames. The milk was boiling over. And then Mother Yashoda, immediately she kind of put Krishna down and she ran into the kitchen. And we can also question why she's doing that, because Krishna is needing her. But the reason, it's also service, feeding Krishna is service, but then to prepare, why did she boil milk in the first place? She wanted to prepare nice sweets for Krishna. And so she felt this is also service. So that's why she ran into the kitchen. And then it says, being very angry and bitten, his reddish lips with his teeth, Krishna with false tears in his eyes, broke the container of yogurt with a piece of stone. And some of the commentators say that Krishna was so angry that this anger was equal to the anger of Lord Nrsimhadev. Strong statement. I was relishing so much, relishing the milk, relishing the love and affection of my mother, and all of a sudden I'm just abandoned, and I stand here on the cold floor, and I'm alone. And so Krishna really became angry, and so then he looked for revenge, and he saw this pot, and he said, okay, now let me break this pot, and at least if I don't get milk, let me at least get some yogurt and butter, and like that. So after taking down the hot milk from the oven, Yashoda returned, and she could see the container of yogurt was broken, Krishna was not there, and there was a big mess, so she concluded this must have been Krishna, where is he? So she was looking for him. And in the meantime, Krishna was sitting on an upside down wooden mortar, as we know, and he was distributing yogurt and butter to the monkeys, right? And also they explained in the previous avatar as Lord Ramachandra, the monkeys, they performed so much service. So Krishna felt, let me now very generously give to the monkeys. So he was feeding the monkeys. And then Mother Yashoda slowly approached him from behind with a stick in her hand. And then when Krishna saw Mother Yashoda with the stick in her hand, he very quickly got down from the top of the mortar and began to run away. And of course Mother Yashoda behind him. And then it's described in the Bhagavatam how the great yogis, they try to capture Krishna, Paramatma, and they are not able to do so. Mother Yashoda is trying to run behind Krishna. And now, of course, finally Mother Yashoda catches Krishna, and then she feels like, I have to teach him a lesson, and I have to bind him, because I have so many household duties, and if Krishna is so naughty today, better he should be bound up. And this is the text that we have come here, text 15. When Mother Yashoda was trying to bind the offending child, she saw that the binding rope was short by distance, the width of 2 fingers. Thus she brought another rope to join it. Just 2 fingers, not much, it was 2 fingers. So it's kind of the rope just was not enough to bind. And we know the pastime, okay, no problem, get some more rope. And then she tried again, get some more rope. Tried again, but somehow it didn't work. And we will, towards the end, we will go a little bit more in detail what actually happened there. What was Krishna thinking, and which energy were working that this was not possible. But what we know is that the two fingers that represent this endeavor and mercy, right? And see, many of you from Indian background. In South India, they have this monkey logic and the cat logic, right? That Markatanyaya, the monkey analogy, compares that the spiritual seeker is like a baby monkey, and he must catch and hold himself. So it's like the monkey who has endeavored a lot to make sure that he is with the mother. Which means that implies the process of liberation or spiritual progress, one has to do a lot of endeavor himself. Whereas the cat logic, Marjarya Nyaya, means that a kitten is carried by the mother. The kitten doesn't have to do much, it's the mother who catches. So that means that divine grace is the main factor to get liberation. And so there is this kind of aspects, and we understand that actually both is required, right? Our endeavor is needed, but of course ultimately it's the Lord's grace that makes it possible. And in the purport that we read this morning, just going back, Prabhupada says, when Krishna is satisfied with one's devotional service, then he does everything himself. When Krishna is satisfied with our service, then Krishna actually becomes very active. He comes a step forward, many steps forward. And Prabhupada quotes this shloka from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Atashi Krishna Namadi Nabhavet Graham Indriyani Sevan Mukhe Jivado Swayamnivas Puratyada. That actually, Krishna is Adokshaja, is beyond our sense perception. It's very difficult to grasp or understand Krishna. It's Krishna Nam Adi, that means it's difficult to understand. It's difficult to understand Krishna's name, and Adi means his qualities, his pastimes. It's difficult to really understand for a conditioned soul. But when one engages one's senses in the service of the Lord, if one engages in devotional service, beginning from Sevan Mukhohi Jivado, with the tongue, then slowly the Lord will reveal. And it's interesting that, that it starts with the tongue. When we engage the tongue, Prabhupada says we accept prasadam. And I think that's we are all quite expert in, right? Accepting prasadam is not so difficult. It's something we like, it's a good process. But then the other one is chanting the holy name. And of course, if we are together in kirtan, then that's also quite easy. Nice melodies, great mridanga, rhythm, we're all dancing in ecstasy. And that's beautiful that we can enter the holy name through congregational chanting. But then japa sometimes becomes a bit more challenging to feel. Would you agree with me? Yeah. That we attain the same taste we have in prasadam, gulab jamun, rasgulla, the same taste we have in kirtan, and then have the same taste in japa. That's not always so easy. So I just thought let's spend a little time on this also, and then we go back to the pastime where we see how this endeavor and mercy plays out in the lila. But His Grace Burijan Prabhu, I don't know, some of you maybe have read this book, Japa, the Burijan Prabhu. Burijan Prabhu has given Japa retreats together with Sachinanda Maharaj for many years, and he has compiled this book. It's based on the Shikshastakam and different stages of chanting, but it also deals a lot with endeavor and mercy, in the sense that Burijan Prabhu gives 9 keys to better chanting. If you apply these keys, then you unlock the door to a good chanting. And the interesting thing is that the first 6 keys, or in some way we can say the first 8 keys, especially the first 6, are personal endeavor. No, we endeavor. And then the last, the 7 and 8 are more about our attitude and mood. And the 9th is really the mercy of the Lord. Because we may endeavor so much, there are many tricks, but at the end of the day, it's Krishna's mercy that allows us to actually enter the holy name. But still, endeavor is important. So I will keep it brief. Just go through some of these steps. First of all, the first key that Burijan Prabhu describes is just chant. I mean, we have to chant. That's the first step, right? And to have a lot of faith and enthusiasm in the process of chanting. It's important when we sit down and do our japa, we should understand this is now the most important time of my day, and this is a chance to personally associate with Krishna right now. And His Holiness Sachinanda Maharaj also beautifully describes the glories of the holy name in his Nectar Ocean of the Holy Name. He makes the point that when Srila Prabhupada came to America in 65, he only had 40 rupees with him, but in his heart he had the greatest wealth, the holy name of the Lord. And that chanting of the holy name actually is the first contact for the jiva with Krishna. That's basically the way how the conditioned soul can get in touch with Krishna. It's usually through the holy name, by hearing Nam. And it's the chanting of the holy name which is the essence of our Hare Krishna movement. We are known as the Hare Krishnas. Why? Because we chant Hare Krishna. So it's the essence of our movement. And it's the chanting of the holy name which is the essence of our own spiritual advancement also. Sometimes we wonder, okay, how can I make more progress? How can I advance in my spiritual life? Well, chanting holy name is actually what we can do. That's what we really can do something about, the chanting of the holy name. And it is the chanting of the holy name that makes sure that we reawaken our dormant love of God, and it's the chanting of the holy name that brings us back to the spiritual world. And from all the instruction that Srila Prabhupada gave us, it's the chant the holy name is the most important. So in this way we can see that the chanting is the beginning, the middle and the end of our practice basically. So therefore, Kirtan Yasada Hari, one should be very enthusiastic about chanting, whether it's Kirtan or Japa, because it's the same name, right? And it's actually much more, in some way it's more intimate, it's just you and Krishna in a more personal way. So, and the second key is, okay, so then, but we all know, we sit down, we want to chant, but then the mind is kind of all over the place. So Burichand's very simple tip, and that's like an essential tip of his, in the whole book, is just listen one name. Because if you tell your mind, so now I will sit down and chant 16 rounds, the mind will say, oh my God, 2 hours. This is so long. Like chanting for 2 hours is like, wow. And I should not do anything else. I should just listen Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, 2 hours. This is too much. But if we so that task is very difficult. But if you tell the mind, you just hear one mantra, and that mantra that you're chanting right now, and you don't do anything else. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And you just focus on that mantra that you're just pronouncing. And you don't do anything else. And all of a sudden, the chant becomes very easy. If the mind agrees to do it. So that's the first key. The second key. The first key is to be enthusiastic and have faith. The second key is to just listen one mantra. And then the third, which is kind of important that the second works, is sankalpa and determination. Sankalpa, yeah. That means, because the problem is, if you do something regularly, like chanting, it can become a routine. We just take our deep back, sit down, but we need to make a sankalpa. My dear mind, now we'll focus. Now is an important moment, we will focus. Or even the day before we take rest, we can tell ourselves, tomorrow morning I will get up early and I will chant nice rounds. This is my goal, I will chant nice rounds. We make a sankalpa. This is promise. And then next morning you get up, okay, we'll chant good rounds. And then, if you don't do that, the mind will just take us somewhere. It requires, from the intelligence, it requires some kalpa, some determination. And then, if we try to do this, what happens? The mind anyway goes away. And then comes the fourth key, we have to bring the mind back. That's also in Gita. Krishna explains that wherever the mind goes, due to his kamshala, his flickering nature, we have to bring the mind back. So that's also another. And you see, these are all the techniques to deal with the mind, right? So you have to bring the mind back. And Krishna also says, but Arjuna says to Krishna, but this is very difficult, Krishna, to control the mind. It's more difficult than to control the wind. And what is Krishna saying? You're right. You're right. Indeed, it's very difficult to control the mind. But it's possible with, what is Krishna saying?
Practice and detachment.
Practice and detachment, exactly. One should practice we are doing, but then detachment is also important. And what does detachment mean? What would you say? What does it mean, detachment? You have to be a sannyasi to chant the Hare Krishna mantra? Or what does it mean, detachment?
Refraining from sense gratification.
refrain from
automatically happens when we chant.
Okay, yes. Any other thoughts?
Maybe not be so attached to the results, like just like doing
yes,
routine,
exactly. That
like
goes closer to what Buddhajam Prabhu says. He says we should be detached from the past and the future. You know, whatever we have chanted already 8 rounds very spaced out, don't worry. You're in here and now. Just focus now. You may still have 15 rounds to chant. Don't worry how many rounds you have to chant. Just be detached. Just focus on the now. Detached in the sense also of being very present and not thinking about the past, thinking about the future. And even if you are distracted and the mind wanders, just bring the mind back and continue. Not being attached like, oh my God, I'm so spaced out, I can't chant. You know, like sometimes we become very overwhelmed because we are not chanting properly, but then also we lose our peace. So detachment in the sense of be peaceful. You're meditating. It's not the time to be all worried about so many things. Just calm down, be detached and practice. That's the 5th key. Then the 6th, if that all is not working, at some point you just have to ignore the mind. Like if you drive in a car and a friend sits next to you and he says, oh, just see, there, this new shopping center has opened. See, this nice graffiti there. Have you seen that guy on the street? Somebody will tell, Prabhu, I'm driving the car, I have to look at the road, I'm conscious. Like, give me a break, I have to focus. So similarly, chanting, we want to chant, the mind takes us everywhere. We just have to ignore the mind. Like Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says, what should we do with our mind in the morning and the evening? Beating with the shoes and with the stick. Got up in the morning beating with the shoe, in the evening beating with the stick. What does it mean? It means to ignore the mind, to kind of chastise. And of course, Raghunath Das Goswami has a different method. He says, with sweet words, I beseech you, I kind of beg you, please, my dear mind. That's another way you can also try to. But somehow we have to make control or ignore the mind. Now, so these first 6 keys, they were all our personal endeavor. We do something on our own to focus. And if we have tried all of the first 6 keys, what is the result? We realize it's still not working, and then the 7th key becomes humility. I become humble. Oh Krishna, I can't make it, please help me. We have to endeavor, that's important, but then even when we endeavor, we realize it's not always working, then the feeling of humility is awakened, and we see, oh Krishna, I just can't do it, please help me, I need your strength, I need your empowerment to do this. So and that's why Trinada Pisunicha and our Mahaprabhu emphasized too much. Then if you want to chant the whole Kirtan Yasudhani, you have to come in this humble position. And then the 8th key is Nam Ashraya, that we fully take shelter in the holy name. We understand that we need the holy name, we take shelter. And the 9th key, that's the master key, or the most important, which is finally Krishna's mercy. And this brings us back to the Lila, that because Buddhajam Prabhu in his book also refers to the pastime when explaining the 9th key. Because we endeavor from our side, which is important, as we said, that the rope is symbolized, or is an analogy for the endeavor and mercy. So also Mother Yashoda, she endeavored very hard. She really endeavored, and it's described that how she, calling all the other gopis. Of course, they came; they wanted to see what's going on, and all the different gopis, they brought many ropes, and she was really endeavoring. So she was endeavoring, but finally it was only possible when Krishna agreed to be bound, and when Krishna's mercy came. So just a little bit from, because Srila Vishnava Chakravarti Thakur gives very nice insights into the pastime here. So, Mother Yashoda, she was trying to bind, but as we heard, it was always 2 fingers too short. And it's interesting, Krishna, when Krishna saw that Mother Yashoda tried to bind him, Krishna was thinking, I cannot be bound up because I must do my daily duties of stealing yogurt and playing with the gopas. You know, how is it that, how can I allow that Mother Yashoda binds me up? This is not nice. You know, I want to go for playing. So Krishna was thinking like this. And it's described that his vibhuti potency, the potency of opulence, inspired by his satya sankalpa or the Icha Shakti. Icha Shakti means his desire fulfilling Shakti. Because Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he doesn't have to endeavor much. If Krishna desires something, his Icha Shakti immediately fulfills all his desires. Right? So his Icha Shakti, fulfilling desire, then empowers the vibhuti potency, which manifests his opulences. I don't want to be bound, and then the vibhuti potency made it possible that he was not bound because this energy. So, and it's described, they brought so many robes, and Vishnu Thakur explains that Mother Yashoda was amazed about mainly two things. What was the two things? First of all, she was very much amazed that although they had gathered a rope that was longer than 50 meters or so, like they brought ropes, or maybe many hundreds of meters, they brought ropes from all over the village. And Krishna's belly is quite small, and the belly is not becoming bigger. No? But although the rope is longer and longer, still it's not going around the belly of Krishna. So that's the first amazing thing. How is it possible? The rope is big, the belly remains the same. It's not possible. And the second amazing thing was that although they put more and more rope, it's still 2 fingers too short. It's not 4 or 5 fingers too short or 1, but it's always 2 fingers too short. That was the second amazing thing. How is it? It's very mystical. So then Mother Yashoda was still endeavoring, and her whole body became covered with perspiration, and the flowers, they were falling from her hair, and she still tried to bind. And everyone was laughing, the gopis had a lot of fun, and they said, "Oh, Mother Yashoda, give up, you can't do it, Krishna doesn't want to be bound." And Mother Yashoda said, "No, I am the mother of Krishna, I have to teach him, he was naughty, and I will endeavor, I will come to him." So her determination was so strong. And then Vishnu Thakur says here, she says, even if evening comes, and even if I tie together all the ropes in the entire village, I must find out just once the extent of my son's waist. So Yashoda wanted to teach her son a lesson. In her persistence, she would not give up her attempt to bind the Lord. In the competition between Krishna and his devotees, the devotee's determination always prevails. This is interesting. So, in the competition between the endeavor of the devotee and Krishna's desire, the devotee wins, actually. And why is that so? Although there is this Isha Shakti, the desire of Krishna not be bound, and although there is the Vibhuti Shakti, who makes it impossible to bind him, if Krishna sees the endeavor of the devotee, another Shakti arises. And what Shakti is that? Kripa Shakti. Krishna's heart becomes melted. Krishna seeing the endeavor of the devotee, Krishna's heart is just melted like butter. Now, Krishna sees Mother Yashoda endeavoring so hard, so Krishna says, "Okay, no, Mother Yashoda has her love," and that's why it's described. It's not the rope that actually binds Krishna; it's the love of Mother Yashoda that binds him. So finally, in this incident, Krishna's heart had become very, very soft. When Krishna's mercy potency entered, however, then both of these other potencies disappeared, and the distance of 2 fingers was filled by the devotee's hard work, determination, and persistence, and by the Lord's mercy. 1 finger therefore represents the devotee's endeavor, and the other finger represents Krishna Kripa, Krishna's mercy. And so in this way, this is beautifully described, how it requires both. It requires our endeavor. Like we heard these different keys of chanting, we have to chant 1 round attentively, bring the mind back, and so on. So that's our endeavor. We have to show Krishna that we really want to connect with him. But at the end of the day, we require Krishna's mercy. But that's the point. If Krishna sees that we endeavor to chant nicely, every day we focus, we try, at some point Krishna feels, such a nice devotee, let's give him some mercy. And all of a sudden, our chanting becomes very sweet, very, very nice, very beautiful. So this is something we can learn from this pastime, so I thought to share this. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Radha Lila ki jai, Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So let's see that we have some comments or questions on this here. Any realizations on endeavoring Krishna's mercy?
How can we know that Krishna is pleased by our endeavor?
How can we know if Krishna is pleased by our endeavor? I guess there is different indications. One is certainly if the Vaishnavas are satisfied with our endeavors, with our service. That's a sign that Krishna must be pleased. If all the Vaishnavas appreciating your service and appreciating you as a person, this is a good sign that Krishna must be pleased. And another sign is in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Sukham Kartam Avavyam, that devotional service is performed in a happy mood, like joyfully performed. And why is devotional service joyfully performed? What do you say? What is the reason? Why is Bhakti Yoga blissful? Why is Bhakti Yoga blissful? Maybe it's a stupid question.
There is satisfaction to the heart.
There is satisfaction in the heart, yes, because it's our nature, it's our natural inclination, it's our nature to serve the Lord. And we speak of the Ladini Shakti, which is manifested in the form of Srimati Radharani. And Radharani, she's a pleasure-giving potency of Krishna, right? But the beautiful thing is that Radharani not only gives pleasure to Krishna, but that same Ladini Shakti also gives pleasure to the devotees who serve Krishna. It's the same pleasure-giving potency. So if the devotee is engaged in devotional service and he actually performs seva, then he feels seva ananda, he feels the bliss of serving Krishna, and that pleasure that he feels in serving Krishna, that's actually Radharani's mercy. Because Krishna is pleased with our service, then naturally Radharani is pleased that we serve Krishna so nicely, and in our hearts we also feel pleased. And that's also the mercy of Srimati Radharani. So that's another way to see. If you perform devotional service and you always are frustrated, then maybe you do something wrong. And Prabhupada actually gives a very strong statement, and I thought I will talk about it tomorrow afternoon, talk a little bit about how to test our bhakti. And one statement Prabhupada says, a devotee practicing Krishna consciousness, one sign that he actually practices that he is blissful, happy. And if someone is not happy, Prabhupada says he's a rascal. He has not even entered devotional service. If you're not happy, you have not entered devotional service. Because if you have entered devotional service, you must be blissful. How can you perform and not be blissful? Yes. I mean, some thoughts on this. Yeah. Yes.
Yesterday, one participant told me that she can see a progress in her life. So, for example, 1 year ago, she said she was in a temple and she did service, but it was more a duty. And okay, I have to wake up, I go to Mangala Arati, and then this and that. But now she said she feels she really wants to do it. She wants to please Krishna. She wants to read, and I think this is a very important point that you see in your life. Okay, I'm progressing.
Yes.
I get more and more chaste, and I'm more and more eager to.
Yes, that's a very important. That's also, it says in Shastra that just as someone who eats a meal, like someone is very hungry and he gets a nice meal, it's not that someone else has to tell him, Prabhu, now you're satisfied, right? No, you can feel it yourself, with every bite, it's so good, and my belly feels, I feel not hungry anymore. You can feel it yourself. And as you said, that the beauty of Bhakti Yoga, actually at some point, you can realize yourself and it's a nice point that you look back sometimes. Because we sometimes think, oh, I don't make any progress. The goal is so high, like become a pure devotee. I'm still so fallen. But if you take a moment to look back, what happened in the last 5 years, you realize, oh, actually, there has been quite some progress has been there. So rather than just seeing, what is missing, you can also be grateful for what you already have achieved. Yeah, thank you. Sure. Yes.
Can I ask you regarding Chapa?
Yes. Sure.
This first key, second key, just to hear one mantra. When I started to apply, my Chapa slowed down. Yeah, because it's in the beginning I could chant like 6 minutes,
Like
and
fast
then
chanting.
hearing every mantra, and I can see now I'm chanting really like started to chant much like longer, and I could see it was starting to be also like at work.
Okay.
And yesterday we were talking about 64 rounds, and this I woke up much earlier than normally, so I was also doing little research around the 64 rounds regarding Srila Prabhupada, and then I found out also another quote. My Guru Maharaj also emphasizes rather, he doesn't like this. It was like a machine gun.
Machine gun chanting.
But then there was no quote, but it was just. I read Srila Prabhupada said that if somebody's chant a longer time, it should take only 5 minutes, one round. It means then, because it was regarding that one can also finish these 64 rounds in 5 hours. So I just want to ask, because I still don't understand how can I hear the mantra if I'm supposed to chant
so
fast. I understand for minds it's easier, but I feel like a yogi, it's just like a it's like it's machine, so I don't know. So please can you help me?
Good question. Of course, first of all, I would say it is an individual thing that I know many devotees they chant. Yadunandan Swami from Spain. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram. He chants like this, all his rounds. I find it very beautiful. He chants like, very clear and very sattvic. But it's very individual, and some they chant quick. I understood that, if you chant too fast or if you chant too slow, in both cases there can be some disadvantages. If you chant too fast, of course, there is always a danger that you kind of skip some syllables and you become inattentive in the sense that you're not really pronouncing everything properly. But if you chant too slow, then the danger is there that your mind is less focused and that you become a little more, tamaguna is coming in and you kind of space out. That can also be there. So I guess the key, I would say, is to find the proper balance between slow and fast. Just find the right rhythm, which it helps you to really focus the mind properly. And that means for some it's faster and for some it's slower. I wouldn't say it's like this is the exact number that everyone has to chant, but it's more about what speed helps you to focus your mind. I would answer like that.
Of course, I would like to hear.
Do it like this, and that's
easier.
That's it's like and Prabhupada says, at the end of the day, we all have to fly our own plane, which is a nice analogy also. Like, if you sit in an aircraft, then on the ground, there's so many people running around and putting fuel inside and maybe fixing some screws on there, like making sure the plane is ready. But once the plane is up, then it's only the pilot who has the responsibility. So similarly now, devotion life, Shiksha Gurus, Diksha Gurus, many devotees, they help us on the ground, but at some point we have to fly our own plane. We have to responsibility to advance, it's fully on our. It's not the guru, it's not the devotees. We have to take that responsibility for our progress. Yeah, these kind of things. It's more individual, I would say. But yeah. It's good to hear about these things, and next time we chant and we consider again, okay, proper speed, proper focus. And then we hope that Krishna sees our endeavor and gives us mercy. And I'm sure you have all made this experience sometimes, especially when you go to holy places in the pilgrimage, all of a sudden you chant, you sit there at the bank of the Yamuna, and tears flow from your eyes, and you have a very deep experience. I'm sure you also have something like this, like, it's not that every day we sit down and we have tears and we chant, oh, Krishna, Krishna. Most probably not. But sometimes we have the experience. And when Krishna gives some special mercy and somehow we have a proper attitude, and Krishna gives us some insight in what chanting actually can mean. And then we can try to aspire to again chant in such a mood. But it's also helpful to, I started to have this accountability partner. I have one devotee, Damodar Prasad, our temple president. Like a couple of months ago, we went in the summer and had some talk, and then we agreed, okay, let's be accountable partners, meaning that every week, at the end of the week, we send a report or we talk a bit. So how was your reading? How much did you read? And how was your chanting? And if you have every week you have to report to someone, my chanting was not so good, I was spaced out, I didn't chant concentrated. At some point you become tired of always reporting back. So then you start to endeavor, I want to be good, And it's interesting, in front of ourselves, we don't care. Even in front of Krishna, we don't care. We chant for Krishna's pleasure, we don't care. But if you tell someone else, all of a sudden, oh, yeah, I have to better endeavor. And I find it really gave me a boost in my sadhana, just to share with someone else. And it's nice that everyone can find some devotee and just, okay, end of the week I tell you quality of my japa.
And also visible chanting also helps, and it'll be more attentive.
Chanting with others, yeah.
I mean, even in our own congregation, doing some, Zooms.
Yeah, I saw many. Nowadays I've seen, so many people I see, sometimes also preachers coming and they put their phone and then a whole group of people chant with him, and it's interesting, Yeah, many ways too. We just have to remind ourselves always. And then, okay, I think our time is up. Thank you very much. Prabhupada.